The battle took place in July 751 CE, near the Talas River in Central Asia. The exact location is believed to be near the modern-day border of Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. The primary combatants were the Chinese Tang Dynasty and the Abbasid Caliphate. This was the only major direct military confrontation between Chinese and Arab forces in history. The battle was driven by a power struggle for control over the strategically important Sirdarya region and the lucrative Silk Road trade routes. Both empires were at the height of their expansion, and their frontiers inevitably clashed in Central Asia. The Tang forces were led by the general Gao Xianji, a naturalized Chinese general of Korean origin. He was a skilled commander known for previous victories in the region against the Tibetans. The Abbasid army was led by the general Ziyad ibn Salih. He was a key figure in the Abbasid revolution and consolidated the caliphate's eastern territories. The Tang army included various Central Asian auxiliaries and Karluk Turkic mercenaries. Chinese sources estimated their total strength at around 30,000 to 50,000, including the Karluk contingent. Abbasid forces were estimated by Chinese sources to number around 200,000, which is likely an exaggeration, with modern estimates placing forces on both sides at a more comparable size, likely between 30,000 and 50,000. The Caliphate's army also included local Muslim and non-Muslim contingents, along with Tibetan allies. The battle lasted for 5 days in the valley of the Talas River. For the first several days, a stalemate ensued, with neither side gaining a decisive advantage. A crucial turning point came on the 5th day when the Karluk Turks, allied with the Tang, defected to the Abbasid side. They launched a surprise attack on the rear of the Chinese army while the front was engaged with the Abbasids. The defection of the Karluks caused the Tang army to collapse in disarray, leading to a rout. This internal betrayal proved devastating to Gao Xianji's forces. General Gao Xianji managed to escape the battlefield, but only with a fraction of his original army. Arab sources incorrectly claimed he was killed during the battle. Casualties for the Tang forces were significant, with Chinese sources reporting around 20,000 to 30,000 killed out of a larger force. Arab sources reported even higher numbers, with up to 50,000 killed and 25,000 captured. The Abbasid victory at Talas effectively halted the Tang dynasty's westward military expansion into Central Asia. This established a permanent geopolitical boundary between the Islamic world and Chinese influence for centuries. The most famous long-term consequence of the battle was the transfer of papermaking technology from China to the Islamic world. The knowledge had previously been a closely guarded Chinese state secret for centuries. Among the Chinese prisoners captured by the Abbasids were skilled artisans, including papermakers. These prisoners were reportedly taken to Samarkand, where they were forced to teach their craft. The Arabs learned the process of papermaking and established the first paper mills in the Islamic world. By 794 to 795 CE, paper production was established in Baghdad, the Abbasid capital. The widespread availability of paper led to an explosion of literacy and knowledge in the Islamic world during its Golden Age. It made books cheaper and more accessible than parchment or papyrus. Paper allowed for the preservation and dissemination of a vast amount of knowledge, including Greek, Indian, and Persian texts, which were translated into Arabic. This fueled significant advancements in science, mathematics, and philosophy. Islamic papermakers refined the process, using different materials like rags and incorporating trip hammers to speed up pulp production, making it faster than Chinese methods. Their paper was often noted for its shiny finish. From the Islamic world, papermaking technology eventually spread to Europe via Al-Andalus Islamic Spain in the 12th century. This transfer of technology helped lay the groundwork for the European Renaissance and the later invention of the printing press. Some modern historians dispute the direct prisoner of war narrative, suggesting that paper may have already been known in Central Asia to a degree before the battle. However, most agree that Talas significantly accelerated and institutionalized the transfer of the technology to the Middle East. The battle's timing, just a few years before the devastating Invention rebellion in 755 CE, was more significant for the Tang decline than the battle itself. The rebellion forced the Tang government to withdraw its armies from the western frontiers to defend the Chinese heartland. The withdrawal of Tang forces created a power vacuum in Central Asia, allowing Turkic and Islamic powers to consolidate their influence. The region's political landscape was reshaped from one of mixed Chinese and Buddhist influence to one of Islamic dominance. The Invention rebellion, which followed the battle, was a massive civil war that led to a significant population loss and the permanent weakening of the Tang Dynasty's central authority. The Battle of Talas, by comparison, was a minor border engagement from the perspective of the Tang homeland. The Abbasids, despite winning the battle, also faced challenges and did not expand further east into China's core territories. The battle is seen as defining the effective limits of easy expansion for both empires. Following the battle, the Abbasids sent several diplomatic embassies to the Tang court, indicating that the two empires reconciled their diplomatic relations. Trade along the maritime and overland Silk Road routes continued. The battle contributed to the decline of Buddhism's influence in Central Asia. With the loss of direct land contact between Chinese and Indian Buddhist centers, the religion in China developed more distinct, independent forms. The long-term result was the Islamization of many Turkic-speaking peoples in Central Asia. This eventually led to the formation of powerful Muslim Turkic empires, such as the Seljuk Empire. The commander of the Abbasid army, Ziyad ibn Salih, was later removed from his position and killed during an internal power struggle within the caliphate. This highlights the political instability of the era, even within the victorious empire. The battle involved a complex web of regional alliances and rivalries. Local Central Asian kingdoms often shifted allegiance between the Tang, Abbasids, and Tibetans to secure their own interests. The Kingdom of Fergana was a key player whose request for Tang assistance against the rulers of Chachtent, who had sought Arab support, initially drew the two major powers into direct conflict. The Abbasid Caliphate had only been established the year prior, in 750 CE, following the defeat of the Umayyad Caliphate at the Battle of the Zab. The Talas campaign was part of their effort to consolidate their new empire's frontiers. Du Huan, a Chinese prisoner of war captured at Talas, spent a decade in Abbasid territory before returning to China by the sea route. His written account provided valuable details about the Arab world and the battle for Chinese records. The technology transfer also included other Chinese crafts, such as silk weaving and possibly iron weapon production, although the quality of these products outside of China often varied. Paper was the most globally impactful transfer. The Battle of Talas had little immediate strategic impact on the ground, with neither side holding stable control over the immediate battlefield area for long after the fighting ended. Both powers were soon preoccupied with severe internal issues. The battle's location is believed to be near the modern city of Talas, a region with rich archaeological history. The region today reflects a mix of the Turkic, Islamic, and minor residual Chinese cultural influences that clashed there centuries ago. Arab accounts of the battle were often brief or non-existent in the earliest historical works. The battle gained prominence as a major historical event much later, when historians like Vasily Bartold recognized its long-term cultural significance. The battle helped define the limits of East Asian Buddhism, which was cut off from its Indian roots by the new Islamic sphere of influence in Central Asia. This led to its unique development in China, Korea, and Japan. The conflict helped foster positive diplomatic relations between the two empires in the long run. Arab merchants were later granted special facilities and a qadi judge in Chinese cities to practice their trade and religion freely. The Invention rebellion effectively ended the Golden Age of the Tang Dynasty. The Battle of Talas occurred right at the zenith of Tang power, marking a turning point toward decline. The use of paper in the Islamic world was spurred by the Quran's emphasis on learning and writing. Paper provided the perfect medium for a civilization that prized written knowledge and record keeping. The transfer of paper technology allowed the Islamic world to become the most literate society of its time. Libraries and centers of learning like the House of Wisdom in Baghdad flourished. The battle had no significant impact on Chinese maritime trade with the Islamic world, which continued and grew as overland routes became less stable. The sea routes offered an alternative connection for commerce and diplomacy. The strategic value of the Silk Road region was the main geopolitical driver for both empires. Control over its various branches means economic advantage and regional dominance. The Tibetan Empire was an ally of the Abbasid Caliphate during the battle. Tibet was a major regional power at the time, frequently vying with the Tang for influence in Central Asia. The Tang Dynasty of Kashmir, a Tang vassal, reportedly supported the Chinese side during the conflict. This illustrates the wide geographical reach of the alliances involved in the battle. The battle's impact on Central Asian demographics and religion was immense. It tilted the balance, ensuring that Islamic civilization, rather than Chinese, would predominate the culture and identity of the region. The Chinese general Li Sai played a role in the battle and subsequent retreat, leading a rear-guard action that allowed some of the Tang forces to escape. He was a key commander under Gao Xianji. The story of the battle highlights how seemingly minor frontier conflicts can have massive, unforeseen cultural and technological consequences in world history. Few battles have had such a profound, non-military global impact. Today, the Battle of Talas is largely a forgotten conflict in the mainstream historical consciousness of both China and the Middle East, yet its legacy in the form of paper use endures globally. The paper revolution it sparked is its true lasting testament.